GRE score important anymore? And can you get good top admits without having a good work experience? Well, this is that time of the year when I sit down and analyze the results for fall 2025 batch. And as I look at our major wins, major losses, big admits, rejects, what worked, what did not work, I'm going to share it all with you. And there are some very interesting insights coming up from this data. So I'll share my analysis with you, and this will give also some indications to future aspirants on what to focus on. So all this on the other side of the intro. Keep watching. Guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're liking the videos, and as I gear up to wrap up our fall 2025 season, I'm really excited to share our results with you. By the way, I've been transparently sharing Scholar Strategy results on our website since 2013, so you can go there and you can transparently see all our admits and a brief profile descriptions for all of them. So I have already uploaded the admits for this year, and I've pulled some of them to share with you on this video as well. And what does that data tell us? Before I proceed, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, especially if you're interested in studying abroad and building a career in the US. I think first I'm just going to take a look at major wise what are our big wins this year, and not so surprisingly most of the candidates were applying for CS and related fields. And here I think a few candidates were focusing on specialized niche courses, and one such candidate was applying for security courses, cyber security kind of courses, and he was a fresher. And we do have encouraging admits here because we have admits from NUS Singapore for their masters in computing course with a focus on security. He also had admits from CMU INI program and NYU Tandon for cyber security. Overall, yes, I think he's pretty happy with the results. And yes, as you can see, the GPA was 8.7 and GRE was 3,116. He had, of course, good internships, but not any work experience. Then we do get CMU, some sort of specialized admits every year. So this year we have MSc Scalable Systems. Again, this is a fresher's profile. For CS, otherwise, we did crack UC Davis this year, which is not that common to get. And then of course UMass Amherst, NYU Poly kind of admits with some superficial kind of scholarship is also there. We did have one candidate waitlisted for Cornell Tech, which was a data science focus, but that we have not heard back from it yet. We did have admits from Columbia CS and also Sunny Buffalo for the same person. So as you can see, Columbia and Sunny Buffalo to other ends of extreme ends of the spectrum. And then we had a lot of mid-tier and low-tier admits like Arizona State, Northeastern, CU Boulder, Sunny Buffalo, etc., etc. In software engineering also we saw admits from just Sunny Buffalo and Northeastern. Both of these were work experience folks. So software engineering, as I have already posted, just be a little bit more careful about focusing entirely on software engineering. But anyways, let's move on. For the data science analytics related courses, so if you want to do data science, you can either apply for masters in data science or business analytics kind of courses, and some of the MIS courses also have the analytics focus. So here we had some good wins, like a candidate in particular got Georgia Tech Analytics, UT Austin MSIS, Columbia Data Science, CMU BIDA, Duke MIDS. All of these are very, very good data science and analytics programs. But of course, his profile is also on the good side with 9.1 GPA, 328 GRE, and 3 years of good work experience. Then we had other lower tier admits in data science came from Syracuse with 15% scholarship, Stevens, but also Duke MIDS for this particular candidate. And he had an interesting story. I think it was his GPA that held him back, but otherwise his application was pretty strong. But I'm sure he's going to do pretty well. So CU Boulder DS admit here as well. And some other Michigan State, UC Davis for stats and DS admits as well. Then we had some candidates focusing on MIS courses with a focus on HCI or product management kind of concentrations. And here we have admits from U Chicago MPCS program, CMU MS in software management, U Michigan Ann Arbor MIS Northeastern Comp Systems Engineering. And also another client had some interesting admits, and I'm excited for her because she got a 36,000 scholarship from Dartmouth, which I think is very, very good if you are getting the Ivy League prestige. And Dartmouth MEM is a selective program, so super happy for her. She had, and her profile, 7.85 GPA, 1 year work experience. And she also cracked NYU MSIS, which is very difficult to crack otherwise. So you commonly would hear NYU Management of Technology admits a lot, but MSIS is slightly rare. She also had Indiana University Kelley MIS and Northeastern admits as well. But yes, Dartmouth is the big one. So those were our Ivy League admits highlights of the year. Then, of course, we have some person applying for quant finance. These are just 1 or 2 every year, but yes, a stellar profile, I would say, 334 GRE, 8.1 GPA. He got into Georgia Tech quantitative computational finance and Cornell financial engineering. So super happy with those results. And then we also had electrical engineering candidates this year with a different focus on VLSI, embedded systems, IoT, etc. So in VLSI, we have admits from Portland State, UMN Twin Cities. UMN Twin Cities is considered really good for electrical. UMass Amherst, UW Madison, again a top tier college, North Carolina State University. In comp engineering, a person got into Virginia Tech ECE. They had really long work experience, so their story, of course, mattered a lot. Then we always get some candidates who are focusing on electrical engineering with the ML kind of focus. And this person had some stellar admits, I would say, Georgia Tech, UC San Diego, CMU electrical admit, but they have offered for spring instead of fall. And also USC, but the same person did not get CS at Georgia Tech and a couple other places that he had applied. But yeah, I think these are very, very good results. And lastly, we do have embedded systems admits for another person at CU Boulder, Northeastern, UC Irvine. And this person also has long 7-year work experience, but their GPA and GRE held them back. So we did focus a lot on the stories here. So that is a snapshot of some of the interesting results I wanted to share. But now let me share my big trends and insights that I think I'm seeing in this data. Like, I do see the value of work experience, right? So firstly, we are getting a lot more clients who have work experience now, and maybe that's just because of the overall like global macroeconomic factors and how Trump policies are shaping up. And also I think people are being more intentional and deliberate about their master's plan. So maybe freshers are holding a bit back and trying to get some work experience before going there. And maybe that's working, because I see that, like, people who I'm seeing having these top tier admits like CMU, Columbia, Georgia Tech, Duke, etc., they typically had 3 to 5 years of experience. And freshers could succeed, as we saw in 1 or 2 profiles, but only when they had 9+ GPA, and or maybe even focusing on a very niche area helped. So like focusing on cybersecurity was a good decision for that candidate. But otherwise, if you're a fresher, I think you need to have a higher GPA to kind of get the similar kind of admits. Next thing I can't ignore is like GRE is playing a role, and I think the role that it's playing is people who had 320+ GRE consistently are cracking bigger schools like Georgia Tech, Columbia, CMU, Cornell. So it's very hard to crack a very, very top school without a super high GRE score, I would say. And people who had like sub 310 kind of GRE score or did not submit it, they definitely had to rely more heavily on their work experience, or they had to had some stellar projects, LORs, etc., to get the top admits. Next thing I'm noticing is that maybe data science and MIS programs in general are getting more competitive, because we are seeing that even with high scores like 9+ GPA, 320+ GRE, the admits are okayish. So I think the competition has been higher in some of these programs. Then I feel that point number 4 would be, I think specialized fields are slightly easier to crack. So if you are really focused on one particular area, or if you're very clear about your goals, like I want to be an AI engineer only, or I want to be a security personnel, then I think applying to those targeted programs can benefit you a lot, and you can get maybe a higher tier admit there. So as we saw in the case of cybersecurity, embedded systems, or quantum computing related programs, I saw higher admit rates than pure CS courses. So I think niche fields can be admit hack for, like, smart and ambitious applicants. And lastly, I would say scholarships, definitely competitive and profile driven, but they are not impossible. So definitely 36K scholarship at Dartmouth MEM is a big win. And CMU BIDA also, the person had 25% scholarship. And these are the profiles where we see a strong GPA and interesting projects or work experience. So yes, in the end, I would say definitely it's no random luck. Things do make sense when you try to take a bird eye view of all the patterns and results. Now I want to analyze two more things. One is what's the role that GRE is playing, and I think so I feel that GRE is going to again become more and more important in the coming years, because schools are moving from GRE optional to GRE compulsory kind of territory once again. And if you're targeting Ivy Leagues and very top tier colleges, you need to have a 330 plus GRE score is what I feel. And if you have 320 to 329, so something in 320s, you can again expect good admits with CMU, etc., Columbia, Duke, UT Austin, not the main programs, but the MIS kind of programs can work out with those scores. But if you have lower than 320, then I think you have to compromise a bit, and the admits we have seen in 310 to 319 range is usually around Northeastern, Arizona State, UMass Amherst, UC Davis, etc. And lower than 310 gets in a very tricky territory, because now you're relying entirely on work experience, and we are seeing admits to mid-tier and safe schools primarily for these scores. Next, I wanted to also look at how important is work experience. And what we noticed is that freshers need to have 9+ CGPA and maybe applying to more niche fields if you don't have any work experience. But otherwise, I think, so sweet spot I would say is 3 to 5 years, right? Where we saw biggest number of admits like CMU, Columbia, Georgia Tech, they are all in 3 to 5 years range. 1 to 2 years is okay, but you still need strong academics, and safe to mid programs are generally coming to people in this work experience range. And if you have more than 6 years of experience, then I think it requires really careful targeting of professional or industry oriented programs. And depending on other factors like GRE score, etc., then you have to target the schools very carefully. But it can get tricky, and your story matters really a lot. So, and lastly, what we did not get, what were some bigger disappointments for me, were that we definitely got some interesting Ivy Leagues this time, like Cornell, Columbia, Dartmouth, but we did not get UC Berkeley, and especially MIMS. So there were some rejections there, which were, again, so this happened last year as well. So I think there is some cycle going on in UC Berkeley, and their focus shifts and they decide what kind of class they want to have. But yeah, so that was a major disappointment. And we did not have any MIT, Stanford kind of admit. Stanford we have anyways not had in a long time, and MIT nobody applied, I think. So yeah, overall I think I'm okay, I'm happy with the admits, but we definitely can do better, and I hope we will do better in fall 2026. So my parting note or advice for people who would be applying for fall 2026, I would say, is having work experience can be plus, but it has to be relevant. So irrelevant work experience does not help. And if you don't have, if you're a fresher, then do a lot of internships. Some good, solid, branded internships definitely help. I think you guys should focus on GRE and take GRE seriously, and try to get at least 315 plus. Like below that is a serious dent on your profile. And if you are a bit clear on your goals, then I would say try to apply to specialized master's track, where you can get much higher tier admits than general CS kind of courses where competition is absolutely brutal. And then I would say you have to polish your profile. You have to show depth in some areas. Like you have to stand out. There has to have some X factor in your profile. And lastly, if the profile is not that wow, then you have to of course follow focus a lot more on your SOP, which becomes your main USP in the whole application. So those were some of my takeaways, and this is why I also have the application planning masterclass, which is super helpful, because there I've analyzed 15 plus profiles. What kind of admits did they get, what strategies worked, what did not work, and what kind of things you should keep in mind as you do the university shortlisting. So if you're applying for fall 2026, I'll leave the link for that class in the description box. And of course, we will be posting many more videos on YouTube. So yes, so stay tuned for it and prepare well. And we have also started taking clients for fall 2026. So if you want to work with me, there is only a small window in which I take clients. Do reach out. By instructions are in the description box as well. Okay, so that was my analysis of our 2025 results and some interesting trends and patterns and what it means for future aspirants. If you have any questions, let me know in the box below, and I'll see you guys next week with a fresh new video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.